All right. It looks like we're all set. So, as always, good morning. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is May 10th, 2022. Happy Tuesday to everybody. So, let's start off with our weekly expected move. It's worth talking about the S&Ps yesterday because we did have a new fresh low in the market. We sold off pretty hard and heavy into the close, and most sectors yesterday were down throughout the session. So relatively poor market breadth as we saw. Pretty much the only sector holding up a little bit was consumer staples. The rest of the market was either down to a similar percentage, 3.2% down on the S&Ps, and a little bit of defense in regards to utilities and staples, but otherwise plenty of downside activity. Another notable piece of this information is we even saw energy volatility come into play. Nat gas and crude had down sessions, but some of the volatility in nat gas currently is facilitating some of this downside activity. So as we look at the rest of the market as well, lots of down performance, the Dow holding up slightly better. And then, of course, the Russell is our worst performing index yesterday, down 4.2%. Now, I wanted to talk about the S&P in regards to its expected move, because every single week we look at expected move to get a sense of what the volatility will look like for the week. Where is risk? Where is the market concerned if we see expansion or movement through certain price levels? And just as far as what's been working, the expected move has been something quite precise over the past couple of weeks. We've seen either tests of the highs, tests of the lows, and occasionally tests of both sides of the range. So what's important about yesterday is it was only one session, and the S&P has already moved the entire expected move. In fact, we closed pretty much dead on the expected move. Now, for the rest of the week, we can easily see trade somewhat contained in the lower bound of the expected move. This would be sort of the more probabilistic event of the market. And that would mean that our trade kind of sits below Friday's close, but above yesterday's low. We could also see something like a very volatile week as we had back here, where we might see a full range transition back to the high. That tends to be a much more rare occurrence, but it is something that's occurred previously. So it definitely puts the probability in more of a recency bias. And then, of course, there's the case where the market continues to go lower. Now, we haven't quite seen a breach of expected move that had a ton of follow through in recent trade, but I want to show when the market tends to have these breaks, you will often see something like a doubling of the range. Usually when you have an expected move breach, you want to be thinking in terms of doubles or multiples of that range. And because the expected move this week is priced at 134 to 135, it kind of opens the idea that if we do continue to sell, that doubling of the expected move would be potentially on the table. That would mean that the market would expand another 130 points. And then, of course, we'd be looking at those downside targets more from a technical sense as opposed to the expected move, in which case we're probably looking at S&P coming into the 38 to 3,700 handle. Now, as we know, the expected move is more about probability. So these are rarer occurrences. They're lower probability events. But when you transition the entire expected move in one day, it really opens up the idea that this could be possible this week. Basically, the volatility this week has been priced poorly. We've already seen a full transition, and because we are still sitting on $126 of expected move for Friday, that means that as we open today, that kind of opens the gateway for more downside. And if we break the expected move, then that's where dynamic hedging can take place. Basically selling into selling and a lot of risk dynamics of the market taking hold of the price. So that is something to keep an eye on. Normally we talk about breaches as opportunities to kind of counter the trend. You want to be thinking about opportunities like this, or even just short-term respect and defense of these levels. But for now, the fact that it's happened very quickly brings the risk into this market. Looking at a couple of things from yesterday, we've got some volatility in nat gas. Definitely seeing a lot of potentially breaks of trend starting to form. A lot of the upside is unsustainable. The volatility is potentially a bit too high. This is usually indicative of some distribution starting to occur. And usually what you'll see is markets start to change larger trends around these areas. So for example, you may want to keep in mind nat gas is still in a weekly uptrend, but that potential head and shoulder structure might be forming. And what this can do is really put a lot of back and forth trade into products that are derived from nat gas. So if you are trading UNG, keep in mind that the gap down opens are pretty wild and woolly to the downside. And especially if you're looking at levered products, these are great intraday instruments, but holding overnight in these market environments can be quite challenging, especially when you're looking at 20 to 30% downside in the course of a couple of sessions. So keep all this in mind as you are trading around the nat gas plays. These products are great intraday. They're a little bit harder to hold overnight, and definitely when you're looking at bigger buy and sell swings, the leverage can actually be a bit of a problem to manage. So oh yeah, we'll also look at just crude really briefly. It does appear to be forming more channel-based trading. What's great about that is it kind of gives us a couple of days of upside, a couple of days of downside until this changes. We're seeing mild buy swings, bit of an uptrend overall, but the sell swings, of course, coming much lower than any sort of higher low perspective. So definitely indicative of a channel. You're going to see this on lower time frames much more clearly, where you just get a lot of back and forth trade. So what this means is, as an intraday trader, you may want to wait for these inflections to start trading around, in this case, energy products, or you might just want to see about setting up positions in regards to these structures. So it's always good to have a little bit of a model, as the market is quite volatile overall. Okay, so let's switch over really quickly to bond products. As you'll know, there's still sort of a interest in finding some relative lows in products like TLT, which is going to be your 20-year plus bond products, treasury bonds. You can also be looking at a product like IEF. That's going to be closer to the 7 and 10 treasury notes, even though it is labeled bond. And then, as always, looking at our rising interest rate trend. So any long attempt in bond products is inherently saying that you're finding a relative top in interest rates. So whether you use an IEF, that's going to be closer to the TNX. Whether you're looking at TYX for your 30-year, just finding those relative tops in the market, points in time where the market is going to pull back and potentially set up something much larger than a swing high in the uptrend. So obviously, very clear daily uptrend. nothing really wrong with this trend overall, but as we go further and further, things become a bit extended. And usually that's where bigger picture opportunity can come into play. Now, I caution a little bit because the 30-year from a technical sense is not quite at the point of inflection. We're talking about multi-month highs being set back in 2019. But we're starting to see a little bit of play, a little bit closer to where the trend changed. So not necessarily the all-time high from that swing, or sorry, not the all-time high, the relative high from that swing, but more where the trend changed. And this is often where you can start to position around and anticipate a similar reaction from the market. Usually this is where you get the concept of double tops, double bottoms. They don't necessarily have to be at the same price level where the previous high and low was set. Instead, they can be at the level where the trend changed in that particular environment. So this is where an uptrend became a downtrend. And this is going to be true for your TNX as well, getting very close to that 3.25 reading. So, obviously just looking for some weakness in this area, just to counter what has been a strong, almost parabolic rise in interest rates. And then a 5-year as well. This one's probably your most interesting in regards to actually hitting the inflection point. Approximately 3.1% for a 5-year. This is a reading that was seen back in late 2018. And then, of course, the market had sort of the counter from the Fed at that time. They changed their posture going into the holidays. Excuse me. I have a little bit of a cough today, so I'm kind of struggling to get all the information out. But most of what's going to be seen today is a lot of repetition. So I'm hoping this information is just kind of becoming more commonplace, a bit more easier to interpret. VIX is still sitting quite elevated this morning. We're still under resistance at the moment, but the trend hasn't been lost. In fact, we've actually countered the trend quite strongly on the most recent drawdown in VIX reading. So keep in mind that this normally is unsustainable, but as we just saw, the expected move for the week has already been met. So if we see a breach of expected move, it is worth considering that the VIX can actually break out of resistance. And that would be sort of a new expansion of readings that we haven't seen in quite a while. This would almost be like multi-week highs in the VIX if we were to see another sell swing in the market. So still not seeing anything of note in people buying up volatility sort of hand and fist. This is usually based around acceleration of volatility. So the VVIX is still high, but not exploding to the upside. We'll want to keep an eye on this in the next couple of days, once again, because the market is postured right on that edge of potentially breaking expected moves. So everything is set. It's just a matter of whether we're going to trade flat to normal this week or will we see more downside. So and then just kind of to reiterate the poor market breadth, you look at something like an equal weighted ETF, a lot of these are still breaking down. Poor market breadth is seen across the market, indicative of the type of selling pressure we're experiencing. And this is very much true in the NASDAQ equal weighted ETF, not only seeing a sell swing, but the type of drawdown from the recent highs has been quite dramatic. This is almost a 10% drawdown from an equal weighted perspective. So the speed of the selling is actually getting a bit quicker. And this can be indicative of a bit of capitulation at some point. Obviously, good capitulation will form in the view of some sort of high volume reading to the downside, and then of course a reversal signal once you have that type of reading. Are we ready for that today? We are starting with a slight gap up open. We'll kind of see what defense happens today. But obviously the market is trying to head towards some price levels. Obviously look to flush out a lot of new buyers in the market, and then of course potentially counter that with a short-term rally once we hit some target. So we'll be looking for that across the board. Also wanted to note yesterday's gap was filled, so that was a bit of a short target for yesterday's trade. We had a nice downtrend in the morning. S&P was able to fill that gap pretty cleanly. I'd say you probably weren't challenged too much on the downtrend once it actually was in alignment. And then of course we went a bit lower, bounced through the gap. So that could have been more of a gap return type strategy. You'll notice the pullback hitting the top of the gap to set up the buy swing. And then of course from there, things got a little choppy, and of course the sell swing into the close, obviously pushing to that expected move. So lots of good opportunity in this market. I don't really see anything of note today outside of what's been discussed. So we'll look at a couple of earnings. These are going to be on the gappers list, and most of them will be covered from the pre-market prep. But a couple of names you might want to keep on watch. First and foremost, Upstart. This is a stock that went from 77 close down to currently about 35. So we're seeing about a 40-point sell-off at this point in time. As always, what did the option market expect for that? The option market expected about $20. So Upstart is a break of the expected move. It's a complete loss of expected move. Additionally, what's a little kind of concerning about this play is, at least on my platform, there is no data past 35. So I don't know whether the option market has any open interest at these price levels. And because it's so far outside of expected move, you want to be thinking that the aspect of expected move has broken. You can get expected move is just holding your rubber band. Doubling your expected move is a big stretch, but it's not necessarily broken. And then if you go past 2 times, everything really can break apart, and you'll see some very wild trade at these levels. You'll notice that the stock is still selling as we speak. So very dramatic loss of expected move, support areas, and even just the idea that this is near its open price. Where did this stock actually open up? I can't remember. I think this is a SPAC, if I'm not mistaken. It might be an IPO. I just can't remember. So Upstart definitely in play. Similar, Piton, big picture here. These are absolute lows for the stock. So the stock really hasn't traded at these price levels before. Sell off into earnings. And as we see, Piton was expecting about a $3.50 to $4 expected move. We closed at 14.13. And I think at the lows, we hit about 9.75, if I recall, on the chart before I switched over. So look at the move that's occurring, and then ask yourself whether the option market got it right or got it wrong. I think at the absolute extreme, the option market was pretty close on this one. $3.50 to $4, $14 close puts you right at 10. And then of course we're seeing some counter here now that we've gone through 10 and recovered. So lots of trade back and forth. You just got to have these numbers in mind, along with the fact that 10 tends to be a bit psychological. So I know a couple of morning traders have been taking advantage of this one. This one actually looks pretty good for the day. We also had Amc Report. And while this has been in play on certain periods of time, right now I'm not seeing anything of note. The market was pricing in about $2.50 expected move for the week. We closed at 12.50. We're looking at about 13 right now, so we really haven't moved too much from earnings. What this means is there might be some potential left in the stock for the rest of the week. So even though we haven't moved the expected move for earnings, keep those numbers in mind. 12.50, $2.50 expected move puts you right at 15 and 10. So you kind of have your risk levels for the week marked off for the stock. And all you have to do is kind of look and see where the technical levels are relative to the expected move. It's obviously in a sell swing. So a bounce to 15 would be a back test of a previous consolidation zone. And then of course, if we go to 10, or if we do sell off more, it's really just following its downtrend, losing this range support, which has been established. And we'd be looking at trade historically before the more impactful move was made a year ago. So a lot of interest in some of the earnings plays this week. We have quite a few names still left to report. They're just not as high impact to the market. So I don't think we'll be wanting for any trading stocks this week. We have things like Coinbase, Oxy reporting today, either morning or afternoon session. Roblox, EA to some degree, maybe the trading, the trade desk. These are all pretty good day traders, and you'll notice a couple names here are common. As we get into Wednesday as well, Disney and Baba, definitely some ones you want to keep on watch. Kind of your household names in regards to traders at least, and lots of good volatility in these names short of earnings. So trying to think what else to cover today, but there was a little bit of a shakeup in the crypto markets that's outside of the volatility. And I'll talk about it briefly. For those who are maybe less familiar with crypto, this might be almost a foreign language in some degree, but I'll try and cover it as best I can. So there was a project called Luna or Terra, and then the token for Terra is considered Luna. So this is a project that has been in place for a while. It's obviously kind of one of the lead bulls. Previously, we've actually seen weakness in the crypto market, but this is an asset that was making higher highs and higher lows. It was pretty much just following the 20-period moving average on the daily. Plenty of volatility for traders, but overall a bullish asset. Nothing really super bearish yet until we started to change trends. Now, what you'll notice is more recently, there's a pretty wild sell swing here. Now, some of this is coming from the weakness in crypto, but some of it is also coming from what is its purpose in regards to a stable coin. Let me see if I can pull up the tether here. So this chart represents the project's intention in regards to a stable coin type asset. It's one of the first quote unquote proven algorithmic stable projects that was out there for a while. And what this means is instead of being backed by assets, this programmatically would derive its stable pricing using a burn method between the Luna tokens and the US dollar. So there was sort of an arbitrage back and forth that kept this as a stable coin. That's usually what you're going to hear in regards to crypto. Now, something happened over the past 2 days. This broke apart. And usually when you have something algorithmic, if anything kind of falls outside of the model, it can often lead to almost like a feedback loop. You want to be thinking maybe 1987 flash crash where things kind of sell into selling, but the logistics of this are a little bit different. I'm definitely running low on fuel here with my throat. But what I'd like to say is that this was something that disrupted this project. It actually caused a lot of liquidity loss in regards to people who are using this as their stable asset of choice. They obviously saw something that should not have happened. And then this became an arbitrage opportunity where once it actually stabilized, the intention of this is to go back to that, $1 print. And this is going to be similar to something like, let's see, US. I'm trying to remember the different stable coins. Give me a second. Just going to remember the symbol for Tether. I always click the wrong one too. There we go. So, a project like Tether, whether you like it or not, this is the intention of it, is to remain stable at basically 1-to-1 with a dollar, and usually using that as a way to avoid going back into a currency, like a pre-established currency. You're almost using this as your middleman to get from one asset to another, or one project to another. Whenever this breaks apart, depending on how it's formed, that can cause big disruptions in the marketplace. So some of this volatility that we're seeing in crypto may be attributed to what we saw with UST. That's going to be your issue with the Terra project. So now this is built programmatically. Other stable coins are built differently. You want to do due diligence as to how they are working and what they're built upon. But wanted to call this out for those who are in crypto. This is sort of a news event that shook up the market, and it's actually a pretty fresh development. So we'll want to see how this moves forward. Definitely a loss of confidence, though, in regards to the project itself. And as you can see, obviously a big loss of trend as well. The market tends to coincide with breakdowns around the same time as the confidence goes out of the market. So, okay. So with that said, yeah, there's a few more stable coins. I just pulled up one to kind of show the difference. But overall, that is what happened. Kind of a developing story. So we'll see how it moves forward. But keep an eye on it if you're in the crypto space. So with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. I'm going to go get some water and talk to y'all soon.
All right, can you guys hear me now? I think I was muted there for a second. All right, perfect. All right, guys, good morning. Welcome to the Pre-Market Prep. I hope you guys are having an amazing morning. Hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. I'm a little sleepy, man. First day of PCT last night with orientation meetings and all
That's
that.
right. Yes,
So I'm a little bit behind this morning. I apologize in advance, but the retirement accounts feel better with a gap up list like this as opposed to yesterday
yes,
with the one
yes.
garbage stock on the gap up and a whole bunch of stuff on the gap down.
I agree 100%. As you can see this morning, guys, a lot of stuff in the green this morning as we're getting a little gap up. So that's nice to see. You still got a few things in the red. You can see a couple of names in here. Piton being one of them, 18%.
Piton getting
UPST.
smoked this morning.
I know, man. I know. And a couple others. I think some of these have earnings. A firm as well getting killed here, down 12%. So you got some really double digits in here this morning. We'll take a look at what's happening there, especially UPST, man. 57%. I know it's not the best intraday trading stock, but they're down quite a bit this morning. So um great stuff in the green side of things. We'll take a look at what's happening there. First, let's look at some of the stuff we had in play yesterday, guys. Starting with of Rivian. If we look at our 5 minute here from yesterday, we'll zoom in right into this area right over here. Again, pre-market guys just got crushed. Could just sold off the whole entire pre-market there was down quite a bit. At the market open was very, very choppy. Actually didn't give you a whole lot. Gave you a little bit of a bounce here in the pre-market. That was part of a nice move there. Then pre-market, this thing just danced around back and forth. Every candle overlapping the previous one. And as you guys know, that is something that we do not like. So didn't trail that well there. Eventually did break out of this range. It was kind of stuck in. Did give you a nice breakdown pattern. But by the time you waited for this, there was plenty of stuff that traded amazing. Not PLTR, but some other ones I'm going to show you now. PLTR, same thing here. Did a majority of its big move in the pre-market after the market open. Didn't do a whole lot. But let's take a look. And I didn't really look at Mara, although I had it on here. I didn't really pay too much attention to it. You can see it was actually a beautiful drop. But if you look at Tesla, if you look at Nvidia, if you look at Apple, and if you look at also AMD, which I did not have on my list, but I know you guys were watching this yesterday, man, these were just amazing trades towards the downside. And there was a whole bunch of other names you could have traded as well to the downside yesterday. But again, just to name a few, incredible drop here. Again, just with the overall SPY being so weak, you got that bit of a drop there that did carry a lot of the stocks with it. So this morning, things are a little bit better, Norm, on the SPY overall information there.
Well, a couple of things we got going on. There's not really any significant economic data coming out today. The big one's going to be inflation numbers tomorrow, but real household debt this morning at 11. Um, the 10-year has pulled back. It was a ton, frankly. It was close to 3.25 yesterday at this time. Not quite there, I don't believe. But it's just under 3 now. So that's a big pullback in a 24-hour period of time. Uh, Interest rates and all that has been a big part of what's been killing this market. Inflation, everything else. So yeah, as you mentioned, we keep moving through earnings. We're kind of getting toward the tail end of it here, but there's still some interesting stuff trickling out. Piton being one of them this morning, so we'll get into that in a minute. And SPY holding that 400 number for the moment.
Yeah, I see that 400 number on there being somewhat of is that a psychological support? Because I don't really see, if we go back here, I don't see a whole lot happening around that 400 as far as consolidation in the past, right? So um I'm not sure. We kind of just blew right through that when we were there. So I'm not sure, you see, we're right in the middle of that gap, which is we didn't even stop to think about it here in the SPY at a 400. So we'll see what happens. We're right on there. Let's see how this goes. This should be very, very interesting, especially with the way things been trading lately. Take a look at our gappers list this morning, and I know I forgot to do this, so we'll do it now. I forgot to link my trade ideas, so let's head over to our trade ideas menu, hit tools, go to external linking. You're going to get this little pop up. Then here you can add where you want exactly this thing to be linked to. So hit add link, take the cursor to where you want that, hit shift. That's gonna populate that right there, which is basically your montage link information. Hit OK, and then just close this, and you'll be set to go. Now, anywhere you click on trade ideas, it will populate that ticker right over there. So pretty cool stuff. All right, let's head over to, man, we have a lot here. So let's start with what's gapping down. I think there's more exciting stuff there. Gapping up, we're going to have a lot of things moving with overall markets. It's kind of like similar to yesterday, right? Everything swung to the downside. Now we're swinging back to the upside. Let's see how it plays out. I'm going to start with UPST, guys. This thing is down 58%. So, I mean, what went wrong here?
Well, they had earnings last night, which obviously were not a good story. And then they're getting multiple downgrades this morning. I see 3 right now. And they're moving price targets from just an example. Piper Sandler had a $230 price target. They've moved to 44. Stevens from 124 to 28. Citigroup from 180 to 50. So
yeah,
no point
it's
on
yeah, it's, oh man, this thing is just getting killed. So guys, definitely in play. I mean, very extended towards the downside. It's going to be tricky to trade it at the market open. We'll see. We're here, 4.1 million shares traded, down 58%. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. Next, we have BHC. This also had earnings pre-market this morning and not looking all that good right now. Where's this 1.1 million shares being traded? I don't see that in the pre-market.
They missed on their earnings. This doesn't trade very well, frankly. The Bausch Health, it just it's nothing. It's I've never seen it trade well.
No, I don't see this being a good one for today, guys. So we're gonna skip on this one.
A whole bunch of things going against it. Price.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just does not look fun at all. For
we got
sure.
a lot more.
Yeah. We'll skip on this one. Gdrx this morning, also not looking great, down 33%. Man, what is it? Everybody's down 30-40% today. This one's down 33%, but also not looking clean. After hours earnings last night, it just doesn't look great though, man.
Yeah, they had earnings last night, and actually, I believe it beat its earnings per share and revenue estimates, but it guidance was poor, and they said they weren't going to meet their prior guidance. That having been said, they're also getting a slew of downgrades this morning with massive price target cuts, so they're feeling the burn.
They definitely are. Their volume overall on the daily very light here, guys. I mean, they're barely getting to 5 million, even with the drop they had yesterday. Here today, they might be a little bit higher. Obviously, they're dropping 33%. I just don't know how well this is going to be. So, I'm gonna keep it off my list for now. This BHC, I'm gonna keep it off. I'm also gonna keep off Gdrx. I think we're gonna find some better stuff out there. Nvex taking a nice hit here, 23%, 271,000. This is a big drop. I know a lot of you guys like this one. We'll be taking a look at this one closely here. This is earnings after hours last night, and obviously that
correct. Their big thing isn't the big thing is the number of vaccines that they've pushed out is not anywhere close to what people were expecting. So
right, agree. So they are again down a whole lot here, guys. I mean, this stock was trading at one point at 187, $200 higher, 275. Man, we're now back down to 40. Now, prior to the pandemic, what was this thing doing? Is 40 like their regular? No, they didn't even do anything before that. So they were, they're around 40. So they were around 40. They probably did a reverse split here. Looks like, who knows? So typically 40 was the deal into the pandemic. So they're just getting back to reality. That's what it is here.
40. 40. Try 4.
Was it 4? I see 40 here before. Oh no, right over. Oh yes, $11. Oh, so we still got some room to go down here. You're absolutely right. I'm actually looking at the pandemic is right over here. So yeah. It actually got to 40 because of the pandemic, and then it did this madness to 331.
Yeah. That was when everybody was just gambling on which companies would come up with a vaccine, and then they finally announced one. Yeah.
Wow. Madness. All right, let's get to the big one here, guys. On the gap down list, this is Piton. They are down 21%. getting smoked this morning, Norm. What's the latest and greatest with these guys?
The front fell off.
Yes.
They had earnings. This company is beat up, man.
Struggling.
Yeah. This thing, hard to believe this thing was in the 150-ish area.
Yeah.
And
was it 150? Is it that high?
It was 140, 150-ish.
Yes. Look at it here. Wow, guys, $11.
It's just it was a massive fad, and I'll tell you, I mean, I got my wife a Peloton for Christmas a couple years ago.
I remember that.
She absolutely loves it. She uses it every day.
Yeah.
But they're having some growth issues, and especially inflation, and they're talking about maybe having to raise subscription prices. And was that going to price more people out of an already expensive product? Remember, they built or they bought new production facilities and all that.
Right.
I think they've got some financial concerns too.
Yeah, it's man, it sucks. It sucks. My brother has one of these bikes and he loves it as well. They're very nice. They're very, very high quality. So again, you got a great product.
Fan base. They've got a passionate fan base. There's just there's a limited pool of people that can afford a $2,500 exercise bike.
Yep. So here it is, guys. They're down quite a bit this morning. Beautiful pre-market activity. We're having some fun in chat today, as you can see here with our gifts. Can I share this one with the YouTube folks? There it is. So that is your Piton gift right over there.
I have not done that class.
I think my head will fall off if I do something like that.
One of my good friends, I used to work with in advertising years ago. She had a Peloton. She fell off somehow getting off of it. I think she fell over with the bike and her foot was still clamped in, and it snapped her ankle in half, broke her fib, I believe.
Ooh, that is painful.
It was rough.
Yeah, if you're clamping on, you got to be very, very careful getting off. A-Firm here also down 12%. Oh, wait, hold on a second. We're going to add Piton, probably the best one on the gap down list this morning, for sure. Definitely in play.
At some point, there's going to be some bargain hunters in this name. I don't know when it'll be. I mean, like I said, there's concerns with financial stuff and how liquid the company is, but there was talk for a long time about somebody, a big player, coming and swooping up and buying it, whether it be an Apple or Amazon. I think was rumored at one point, as a potential suitor.
I could see.
Apparently, they don't. They want no part of that.
No, I man, they have to figure something out with their business on how to make money. I think they should allow the app to be for every bike. Sell the app, sell the service. That's where the money's at. Bike is too expensive. A-Firm, guys, let's look here. A-Firm, what do we have? We're down 11.4 and picking up some volume. It's not looking all that great, but it does have some potential. It's been getting crushed here as well. Last couple of days has not been doing well. They don't have earnings until the 12th, so we're not even there yet.
They had an analyst downgrade this morning. Stevens went from equal weight to underweight, cut their price target from 51 to 17. These companies that are not profitable, they struggle in these the times tough like this market's in right now. So
I mean, 170, another one that's this seemed to have done well with the pandemic, but why? Well, why would this do well? I guess people shopping from home. It's a shopping network, right? This is what this is. I mean, I just don't get the pop here, but 170 down to $18. So I'm gonna put as a possible.
It's buy now, pay later, and that whole business we've talked about it.
Yes, I remember you did tell me that. So again, buy now, pay later. It's not working out too well for them. Let's see what we have here. I'm going to look at Plug because that one is coming up on the gap down list here as well. It's okay. Put as a possible for now. I know you guys like this one. Plug. So we're down 2.2 on it. Let's see where it goes. Let's give it a little more time to develop here. Let's see what's gapping up this morning, guys. We got a ton over here. We're going to look at the top 5. I see Bitcoin is up now. They were down yesterday. Now on the upside of things, a whole kind of names here. I know AMC has earnings. I'm trying to figure out any big ones that have earnings. I know AMC had earnings, right? AMC here,
Yeah,
but
AMC did.
they're not doing a whole lot for earnings. Yesterday, was it yesterday or this morning?
It was last night.
Last night, yeah. So I don't see a whole lot going on here for these guys. So pretty quiet. Possible in case they do get going, we know what they're able to do. Starting from the top, BHBVN, it looks like a buyout. Doesn't
It
look
is a
good at
buyout.
all.
Pfizer's
Yep.
buying them. They already own part of it, but they're buying out the rest.
Okay, so nothing's gonna happen there. DRE, this
Dre
is
sucks.
yeah,
That's a REIT.
yeah. This really sucks here. Let's move on down. VTNR. Well, we've seen this VTNR before. I'm not a fan of it, guys. I don't like the way it trades. I don't like the way it moves. I think there's better stuff out there. This morning up 16%, 700,000, and even this pre-market. We talked about this yesterday in our webinar. You're just not getting a good flow here, even with the volume. So I'm not excited about that one. Let's look at Lee. Lee also not great pre-market activity. The daily looks a little bit funky. They don't get great volume. Um, Again, earnings. When is earnings? This morning they had earnings, so that's why
Yeah.
you're getting a little pop here. This is not great activity for earnings, so I'm gonna move down to something else.
You know, I'll tell you, man.
Yeah.
These, even with the pop up, it concerns me the
Mm-hmm.
continued lockdowns in China that are going
Yeah.
on. A lot of these are popping up. There's a lot of Chinese stocks on the gap up, but I was listening to something about lockdowns, and they're just getting more and more drastic. I mean, if I heard if you're in a building with multiple people, apartment complex, condos, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
one unit. First of all, everybody's locked inside, but then they come and test you. Only critical deliveries are able to be delivered, which we heard not too long ago. Remember that was people were hungry and weren't getting enough food. But if one person in your entire complex comes down and tests positive for COVID, they're taking the entire apartment complex to a government quarantine facility.
That is horrible.
And there was also something I heard about anal swabs again for COVID. It's like, oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's gotta suck, man. I did see a video on
So-
Twitter, and I was wondering, man, how real is this? Because sometimes people exaggerate, but it's not the only source that has commented on that with these camp that they have, which is just insane. So, man, hopefully things get better over there. But yeah, that's not good for business, and it's concerning on how they're going to be able to maintain, even with good earnings here. On some of these pops you're getting, is that going to hold on these Chinese companies? It's going to be interesting to see. Guys, we have a ton of stuff here. Let's look at some of the names that we like. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to skip through some of these. I'm not going to look at Bitcoin or Mara. They just have not been fun. XBEV here, I don't see a whole lot happening there. NCLH on the list this morning, they're up 5.3, so that's a big pop for them. They had a massive drop yesterday. Was this all market, or there was this something else going on with these guys? I mean, that's a
I think that was primarily the market.
oh, wow.
But they did have earnings this morning.
Yeah.
And they also said that their bookings are now above pre-pandemic levels, I believe. So
Okay. I mean, they're
that's
definitely
giving them the catalyst. They'll be in play.
yeah, they're definitely in play.
These, there was that period of time when all these traded great.
I know.
And they really haven't since. And people
Yeah.
try to put them in play, and they're not. Maybe they will be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty decent drop, $2 from 18 to 16, but
Yeah, I agree. We had a lot of fun with these guys. CCL, NCLH, even RCL, which didn't trade very well. Even that one at one point, it's probably the one that gets the least volume. Big drop for them yesterday. Just the entire travel sector looks like had a big drop yesterday. Yeah, they're just having not been in play. I'm going to add NCLH, and even then, I'm only going to put them as a possible because I'm still concerned that it might not be the best trader this morning. So we'll see. All right, we have food too here. Tons of Chinese stocks, but I'm not really interested in. NEO, though, I did look at NEO, and NEO does look interesting as far as this daily here. 1.5, we're down quite a bit. They have earnings coming up the 10th, the 12th.
oh, they already had earnings, I believe.
Did
they have earnings?
No, NEO's the 12th. NEO's the
Well,
12th.
Finviz says April 29th.
Oh,
So one of them is wrong.
yeah, absolutely, because that's too close. Something's wrong there. So maybe they did. I'm not sure.
No, who knows?
April 29th.
They say the 12th. Yahoo Finance says today.
Just throw anything on
Who
the
knows,
calendar
man?
and no worries. All right, but I still like their daily regardless. They're looking good, got great volume. I'm gonna add Neo, probably the only Chinese stock I'm gonna be looking at today. That one looks very good. All right, guys, there's a ton here. I'm not gonna go through all of these. Norm, anything you like this morning?
I think we've got some good things on the list already. There are,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we've got some good stuff on the list.
Yeah, we got a ton here. Let's take it to the chat, guys. What do you got like this morning? Dan, you're looking at LI is clearing the deck. Yeah, LI, I mean, I'm not liking it as much. I'm not a big fan of it, so I think we're gonna have better stuff today. Also, one that we looked at yesterday, we actually did levels for AMD yesterday when we were preparing for our our um, our webinar yesterday. So we did levels here on this already. So we're looking good. Definitely going to add AMD. I like the setup here on the daily. We talked about this 85.50 being a good level yesterday and why, and we went back into the weekly and found some more good levels there. So yeah, I like AMD today. Definitely going to keep an eye on them. They're looking good, gapping up 829,000 shares traded right now. Fabio, Tesla, Apple, and AMD. So AMD we have. Apple will be a good one to keep an eye on overall, right? This tech company. It's always fun to watch. I'm gonna put them here. I want to say as a possible for now. I might move them up, but let's just leave some room for other stuff for the moment. And then you mentioned Tesla. Tesla, what is Tesla up to? Everything gapping up a little bit today. Yeah, Tesla's okay. Tesla's okay.
Tesla had news
Possible.
last night that they're going to have a factory shut down in China because of supply chain issues.
Oh, that's not fun. That is not good.
So that
And
might be affecting some of the EVs over there as well.
yeah, yeah. Neo, we have Oxy. What is Oxy doing? What did it do yesterday too?
Shortage.
What happened?
Oh God, I shouldn't have mentioned how they're swabbing people.
Oh,
They're talking about it.
Yep, yep.
Wiring harnesses. Yeah, that's a pretty important component.
Oh no, this is Oxy. Wait, Oxy took a big drop yesterday too, man. Oxy taking a nice hit, 63 down to 57, the low, gapping up a little bit today. Man, so many good stocks we can watch today. We have to be very, very picky. Um, Apple had volume yesterday, but traded horribly. I think they had a nice drop though, right? After it settled down, they had a pretty good drop on Apple. AMD, Nvidia. Let's take a look at Nvidia.
Apple's
Yeah, I'm
still
gonna
holding
keep.
that
Yeah,
150.
which one? Apple.
Apple. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nvidia is good, but I have Apple, I have AMD, so I'm gonna keep those instead. You can watch Nvidia. I'm just gonna fall into that category of these type Q companies, tech companies. Oxy is good. We'll keep it as a possible. I'm just being a little bit picky, leaving some room for anything else that might appear. Microsoft, Microsoft is moving for the type of company that it is. It's actually moving pretty well today. They got 1.6 million shares traded. Seems a little bit on the high end for the pre-market right now.
Supply in
And
the queues really in the last couple of minutes has started taking
is that what it
off.
is? Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, even
Yeah.
like Piton's moved $1.30 and which is a lot for a $10, $11 stock in the
Yeah.
last 6 or 7 minutes. So
Yeah. Q's
I
are
don't know
looking
if there was
really
news
good.
I missed. I have Squawk turned off right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Q's are looking really good, man. That's what's happening. That's why you're getting some of these movements are doing well here in these tech companies. Again, you can pick your favorite one. I got AMD. I like the daily there. I have Apple. You can look at Nvidia and some other ones. I think they're going to be, and Microsoft. I actually like Microsoft today. So let's throw Microsoft in here. I don't know, for some reason, although they're all moving, this one seems to have really good volume this morning and just looks clean on the daily too. So let's see what happens there. Neo, we have on deck already 1.7 tons of volume there also. Okay, we're set, guys. Let's go over to YouTube. What do you guys like this morning that we have not mentioned yet? VRN, cheap stock through a new CEO that came in yesterday. VRM, excuse me, VRM. Oh, no. This is a penny type lowish stock. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, regardless of the catalyst. It's just not typically what I like to trade. So it is in play. It is up 58%, 13 million shares traded. But this room here, whatever this is, I just don't want no part of it. So you can watch that one, Dylan. It's just not, doesn't fall into what I like to trade. Piton is good, big bounce right now. Absolutely. Apple is good.
I will say, if that, I won't trade this either because I don't like trading stuff that's this inexpensive, but that this low price. But they've got a 31% short float on Vroom. They had earnings last night. They're talking about a reformation, reorganization, business realignment plan. You got executives leaving. It could do something.
Yeah.
If that's your bag, you got a good one in play there. It's just not my price range I'm gonna trade.
That is exactly it, Norm. You said it best. If this is your deal here, VRM, it is in play for sure. You know, I'm gonna put it here. I'm putting it as a risky one because again, you got to still be careful. It's not a low flow. It's 131 million. But again, you got a 40% short interest as Norm mentioned here. And this thing's trading at $1. This thing can squeeze very aggressively. So just be careful. But you're right. If this is your deal, man, this is in play. So Penny, I agree. Everything is on SSR except Apple. Yes, there's a lot of tickers on SSR. AMD, which we normally do not see AMD on SSR. There's some names that you never seen on SSR that are there. Piton, we've seen Piton take hits like this before. UPST, some of these will be
been taking this hit for a year, I think, right?
Yeah, we've seen that thing on SSR plenty of times. And at the market open, you might see some other ones that are going to jump in on SSR as well when that bell hits. So there's some ones that are taking a big hit. NCLH, A-Firm. I mean, there's tons of stuff with the SSR on today because the last couple of days we've just been getting crushed.
Yeah.
And yesterday we got crushed, right? Same thing yesterday. We had a couple of names that were on SSR as well. And for those that are new, SSR stands for short selling restriction. It's not a broker thing. It's an exchange thing. So what that means is after a stock drops, what's the percentage, Norm? Is it 10%? If it drops more than 10%, it goes on SSR. It prevents the stock from just basically nonstop going to zero, and it allows anyone that's holding the stock to have the opportunity to get out first instead of you trying to get in short the stock, right? So it gives the people that own the stock first dibs on getting out of the trade if they want to. And a lot more stuff that happens also. But those are the two main things there. All right, we'll stop here, guys.
So Jason asks a good question there since we're talking about SSR. How is Upstart not on SSR? SSR does not count outside of market hours. So if it's down more than 10% from the previous day close at 9:30 and 1 second when the market opens, it will be on SSR immediately.
Yep. And then it'll stay like that for, is it 2 days?
That day and the next.
Yeah. Right, that day and the next. So anything you're seeing now on for example, AMD, this SSR was on yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. That's going to carry on. That will be available now. That will show in the pre-market now, right? And until it comes off. So, all right, excellent, guys. Let's get to our community events and announcements. We'll come back and fine-tune this list. Today's going to be a day where you can watch so many things, guys, and you can do okay. There's just a lot going on this morning.
So somebody asked me to explain that one more time. I'll be real quick. If at any point during the market hours from 9:30 to 4 Eastern, a stock is down 10% from the previous day close, it goes on SSR for the remainder of that day, and it'll stick on it the next day as well. So, all right, back to announcements. Your technology webinar should be posted soon. I'm guessing you send that pretty quickly over to Ryan. And then next week is Kyle's Dash Trader Pro Q&A. Thor tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, VPA Part 2. I'm sure that'll be well attended. And then next Tuesday, 8 p.m., Understanding Fundamentals of the Market, talking about cycles and all that with Peter. And Jared's going to join him too. Return of Creda tomorrow night, talking about neutralizing pressure while trading. That's at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And then the following week at 8 p.m., Mike's going to be talking about defining your trading why. And then mentorship this week with John at 11, Ed at 4, Thor at 8 on Thursday. Don't forget about stocktradingsimulator.com. That is our free web-based replay simulator. Don't have to download any software or anything. Just sign up for it. It's free. You'll get two emails a week, I believe, on Wednesday and Friday that Eamon will send out that will point you in the direction of which stocks and what times of day to look at them. And if you're watching on YouTube, you haven't been in the room, you'd like to give it a shot, use the promo code PreMarket24. Just go to I need to change this slide, but if you go to the Bearable Traders homepage, Scroll down to the membership chart. The far left option is the intro membership. It's 7 calendar days in the room. Use that promo code when you check out, get a discount, and it'll cancel itself after that week.
All right. Thank you very much, Norm. Okay, guys, let's get to it. Let's get some levels in here. Again, we have so many stocks that are potentially in play now. And now with the market moving higher here, especially the Qs, you're starting to see this list become very, very big. I'm a whale. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Your name there. So you mentioned CCL, which just started looking at that now, and yeah, that looks good too. I like CCL. I mean, it's just so many tickers.
Yeah.
So I like CCL. This one's good there. 1 million shares traded. See, today, I think this is in play. The tech sector, I mean, the travel sector looks to be bouncing a little bit here. Not so much the airlines, but the cruise lines are getting the volume because they were just killed yesterday. It took a really big hit, a lot of these. All right, let's take a look at some levels, guys. Start with UPST. Someone asked me, what do I think about this one? I mean, over on YouTube, this is, again, it's just a massive drop. It is definitely extended. We're down 57%. It is going to be on short selling restriction at the market open. We do have shares for sure with interactive brokers. We'll have to see, man. This is a big drop. Eventually, you start getting to a place where you're so extended, depending on the company business. Do we have a bounce here? Are we going to start looking to close this gap? It's just so many unanswered questions at the moment on this one. Why is this showing different here? Interesting. So on the daily, we're seeing 34.17 as the high of the pre-market. Doesn't make any sense. High of the pre-market is all the way up here at 45. Am I looking at this right? Here it says the same thing, 34.89, 34.70. What am I missing here, guys, on this 5 minute? Point it out. We'll come back to this. But I do see this is still a level, 34.72, still a good level there. We've dropped so much on this one that we might be able to take some pre-market activity here. Here's another one, 39.24. Last night, someone asked me this. Do we take levels off the 5 minute? On something like this, yes. Look at the big drop. You don't have any daily information here. We might need to go back. Let's see. Have we been down here before? Are we at all-time lows? What's the deal here? Let's go. We're past the year now. So let's go move over to our weekly. And we see, oh, wow. We are basically back at when we IPO'd back in 2020 here. So we are like inches away from the all-time low here, 2287. They were there the first week they opened up. They never looked back, and we're now kind of flirting with that. So definitely, yeah, Chris, yeah, IPO range here, man. This is wow, take a nice hit. I'm gonna mark down. We don't have any more data down here. I'm gonna also mark down this one here, 2613. This is a weekly chart, so there could be a couple of days that maybe bounced off of that. Could be a somewhat level of support there. So 2613, 2287. Man, this is wow. It's just getting destroyed. So we got some levels here, guys, off the 5 minute. I still don't understand why this is showing like this. I guess the drop is so big, it's confusing the numbers here on our montage. But either way, we have levels. Everything else looks good. I think this would be an interesting one to watch today. Guys, very, very risky stock. I cannot say that enough. It is not a low float, right? The float on this thing is UPST. We are looking at 66 million shares float, but it's moving like a 3 million shares float. I mean, this thing is moving very aggressively through prices like nothing. I mean, this drop here, we're looking at 34, we're down to 32. That is almost a $2 drop there, $2 and change, really. So you don't need to take a lot of shares to make some really good returns on this one, and to also protect yourself on the risky side of things, right? If things do not go your way. We can add more levels to this. I'm going to wait a little bit more, let it develop. I see another level building up here at 33 as well, right? That's another level of the 5 minute. And you can do this with this type of stock because we have dropped so much here. And these are big moves, right? They seem really close levels, but look at it, 32, 34, 39. These are really big moves within this 5 minute chart here. All right, let's look at Nvex. Nvex also not doing so well. You know what? Maybe this is one that I moved towards the bottom today. I think we just have other stuff that looks a lot more attractive than Nvex does. I do love this drop. I do like the fact we lost this 44.17. You know what? We'll do levels for this one because this could surprise us today. 44.57. We have 38.80 low of the pre-market. High of the pre-market is a little sketchy here. You got a couple of areas, but I'm going to mark down this one here. And the reason is I know this is the high of the pre-market, but this 42.87 to me is a lot more important, right? So I like this better than this pre-market high here. There's a lot more going on there than up here. So we'll keep that on there. Towards the top, guys, we're going to find a level here. Got a couple of days right over here, 47.62. Not the best level. It's not a 44.57, but it's still decent enough to mark down there. Then you start getting into the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. If we're going to be going north above 47, which I highly doubt. This is another one that has not been down here in quite some time. And last time we were here was around right before, a little bit after the pandemic actually broke out, right? A little bit after. So as far as the weekly, we do have 25. We have a level here, and we have one down here over at 17. I don't think we'll get there. We have a big pop here. This was, I guess, when they had news that, hey, they're going to be doing vaccines or whatever the case may was. We had the big pop there. I just don't see anything on that weekly that we could mark down. So we got a couple of levels here. Again, I'm not a big fan of it. Either way, I am going to be moving this down. I think we have better stocks on my list. So Nvex goes to the secondary list here. We'll move down to Piton. Piton is staying with us for sure. Towards the top, plenty of levels, guys. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You are set there. Low of the pre-market, we're looking at 978. High of the pre-market, pretty much where the previous day close is, so for around 14. So I'm not going to worry about that. 1389. That's okay. Pre-market here in the 5-minute. Let's see, do we have some good levels? I think this one here, right where the price action is, 1172 is a good one. We'll mark that down. And I believe another one we have not been down here in a while. Is this all-time low? What do we got going on here? It is all-time low. Hold on, let me make sure. Oh, man. Oh boy, all-time low for Piton. Yes, this is it right here. There's nothing below that 980. Guys, confirm if that's correct. But that is your all-time low there. So another one, just again, all these companies creating new lows, man, just not doing well. Piton being one of them. Great volume, 1650 high of the pre-market. Yeah, definitely in play. Piton, a $10 stock. Yeah, it's crazy, right, to be talking about Piton as a $10 stock with the way this thing was trading before. Neo's got good volume here. Pre-market activity after 7:30 is getting a lot better. Let's hope that continues. I do like the volume. I do like the daily here. Couple of days drop. Maybe we're getting to some kind of bounce situation, especially if the Qs and the SPY are going to be a little bit more on the green side of things today, right? We're seeing that already. So that's going to help Neo. Neo will be a good one with the volume that it gets to hopefully rally here. 1423 high of the pre-market, the low of the pre-market, pretty much previous day closed. Low for yesterday, 1350. So don't need to do a whole lot there. Towards the top, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. And it looks like around 15, you have, some wicks here. This day closed here, 14, 15 bucks there. So we'll mark that down. I want to see something towards the downside if we can. We have this very small wick over here at 13. We'll mark that there. And another one that we have, again, just not been down here in a very long time. So let's go to the weekly. Weekly, just to get a level below in case we do sell off. We have one here clearly at 1065. And right in between here, this is not a major one. This is more of a minor level of support. This 1250. You got a couple of stuff happening there. But again, not the major level like that 13 that we have down there. That 1251, I believe. All right, so that is Neo, guys. Good stuff happening there, trying to push up higher. Here is AMD. AMD, we have levels for already, guys. We have our pre-market highs and lows. We have actually the pre-market high right now is 89. I'm going to mark that down here, 89. So we'll mark that there. We'll mark the low over here for today. It's going to be 86, right? Then outside of that, we have 90, 11 towards the top. Highs and lows up here as well. We do have 85, 85.80, 85.50, excuse me. We have 80.12. We could also mark this here, 84, just in case we get a drop here. So we'll see. We'll see how AMD does today. We have 2 levels we spoke about last night, right? We have this level here, right? Which is we're getting close to it now. And then we have this range up here as well, right? It doesn't stay long in this area. It doesn't like to be here for long. The minute it goes there, it finds a way to either get on the above range or the below range. This being your above range here, and this being your bottom range, right? So we're slamming up against this here. Let's see if we're looking to head north. But I think, oh man, nice breakout through 89 at the moment. So yeah, AMD looking really nice right now. I will still keep this 89 here. Let's see how this plays out, and then we can always adjust that later. Here's Microsoft, guys, trading very well. I like Microsoft today for some reason. It looks very clean this morning. Typically, they don't have the best pre-market activity today. I really like what they're doing. I like the volume as well. I know compared to Apple with a 4.2 million, 1.7 for Microsoft doesn't look too attractive, but Microsoft doesn't do this all the time. So it's nice to see that this morning. We have 266.72 is the low of the pre-market. High of the pre-market is pretty much the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days right on here. So I'm not going to mark that just yet. Let's see if we can continue to break out of Microsoft there. Towards the top, we do have an area, I want to say, man, it's not clean. This is one here, 276. And then I want to say this one too here. I won't put too much weight on this 274. It might actually be 275, but I'm going to mark that there as well. So we'll mark both of those there for Microsoft. Towards the bottom, previous day close, but to be honest, I'm not interested in Microsoft selling off. I'm interested in this taking off if we can do that. All right, last one but not least, CCL, guys. Travel, a lot of the travel stuff here. Not really travel. Cruise lines getting a little bit of a pop with some volume. Even NCLA's got 500,000 here. CCL has 1.1 million, so I like that one just a little bit better. High of the pre-market 1487, and then towards the bottom, the low of the pre-market 1430. I think after you do that, the highs and lows are doing a pretty good job here. I don't think you need to add anything else. And again, I'm just not really interested in the drop here if we do decide to head below this previous day close. But just to be prepared, let's look at this. We are going back to pandemic levels here, guys, where we had this huge drop. 1138, and we have this here at 822. So that is what we have here on CCL. And we are all set, guys, as far as levels. All right. Anything we missed?
Some of these things went into beast mode ever since we brought that up, man. At about 850. Sorry, my camera conked out, and I'm not going to reset it at this point. But
yeah, all good. Yeah, no, we're seeing that here, man. It's just nice. Let's see how this is going to play out. The market open. Can we do levels for Apple? Yes, levels for Apple are actually almost done for you, man. If you look at it now, right? If you have it automatically, your highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, they're doing everything they can here for you. I mean, and this is a good level too. Look at this one right here. There's no doubt that that high of the pre-market right now, this 155.80, 156, man, that's a good level on Apple. At the low of the pre-market down at 153.16, you want to mark that down there because you see some confirmation of this as well right over here. And this type of candle, I love these type of candles. It shows an aggressive buying here. And then look where it goes back up to. It goes back to the area where you had support in the past. So it's a nice candle there, just confirming this level and this one up here. So that looks good there. Outside of that, man, I think you're set. Just add the low of the pre-market and everything else is done for you. If you want a level towards the top, a midpoint here, you do have an area. This is an area 157.90, might actually be 158. That's an area there, right? 'Cause you got a couple of days opening, closing around this action here. So that could be something. All right, we are set, guys. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup, see what we have going on today, see who's looking at what as we are doing this. Smack that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate that very much. It does help out the channel, and it shows us that we are actually hopefully doing something right that you enjoy. We appreciate that. Let's bring this over. Let's see our moderators list here. We have everyone on deck, looks like. Brian is getting his shirt, so he'll send his watch. Actually, Brian is traveling today, right? I believe he's traveling.
yes,
So
he is.
he definitely won't have a shirt today. Okay. Eamon, looking at Eamon, potential shorts, DKNG. He'll wait for the alerts. And then Thor, he'll be looking at Apple, Microsoft, SPY, and NCLH, looking at scanners as well. I like Thor changed his avatar there. He got like a cartoon, something nice. Dima is looking at Piton, Lee, Apple, and AMD. Mike will be looking at Facebook, Apple, and SQ. A couple of IPOs for today. Peter will be looking at AMD, Piton, UPST, secondary list, Apple, Lucid, and Neo. Megan will be looking at Oxy and Apple. Jared, interest rates are dropping today. So he's a little bit long bias on calls tech names. And he'll be watching some oversold names, which we have a lot of that, guys. a lot of stuff going into that value territory. Susan will be looking at AMD for now and still deciding. There's so many to choose from this morning. So,
I want to point out a member, and I want to see if I can find
yeah.
this post, but I think it was on point, and it was longtime member. Where are you, Sniper Focus? I'm looking for your post. Somebody was talking about the market being up today, and Sniper Focus, 3-star general, no surprise. See some pops today, especially anticipating CPI numbers tomorrow. That's the inflation data I was talking about. It's all about that at this point. If it comes in hot, it'll all get wiped out in a heartbeat. If not, we could see some short covering run tomorrow. So I agree with you. Good call.
Yeah.
That
Be
was
on the
about
lookout for that.
that was at the top of the hour.
And this market is so sensitive, man, to any type of catalyst, any type of news. This market, I never seen it like this before, where something comes out where we're shooting 3% easily, right? It's just insane. We'll do this one quickly because you asked nicely, Marianne. We'll look at Airbnb. What's going on with Airbnb? Airbnb. Um, it's up, but compared to CCL, if you want to look at the travel stuff, there's better companies out there right now, especially with the way the SPY is moving. Keep an eye on the SPY. Man, they're really pushing here. So SPY is moving higher. The Qs are moving higher. You're going to have a lot of stocks that are not in play, right? Airbnb is not in play. That might do well. But you can look at an Apple, you can look at a CCL, you can look at a Microsoft today. And if the SPY is going to continue to push the way it is, you can have some really good moves of these tickers that are going to trade a little bit better. Compared to Airbnb, it's just the volume is just not there. No, Ed's around. Ed's in play, man. Absolutely. Ed's in play, has his own little chat room. He might not be doing as many recasts, maybe. That's what you guys are saying over on YouTube. But yeah, Ed's in the chat room. And we get a lot of Ed.
He's in the chat. He's going
Yeah.
to crank his recaps back up. He took a little bit of a hiatus because he was trying to get some things cleaned up to produce some better recaps, but he's going to be doing it soon.
Nice. Look forward to that, guys. So stay tuned for that. Guys, take care. We're heading here into our market open. Thor and another moderator will be trading with him at the moment. We'll go live, and we will see you guys on tomorrow, Wednesday. So take care, trade safe. Thank you for joining us, and have a great Tuesday.
Yep. Take care, guys. Trade safe.